Hello everyone. It feels like only yesterday I was filming this exact same video when I was moving to Utah. But today I am officially announcing that I am leaving Utah, effective in about 2 weeks. So, my family has decided to head back home. We're going to head back to Washington State, where we left 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago, and move somewhere different in Washington, but just kind of go back home, be with friends and family, and that sort of thing. So, it's not something that I really expected to happen this soon. I thought for sure that we would be in Utah for at least a few more years. I was always thinking like 6 to 10 years that we'd be exploring the Beehive State and seeing what living here has to offer and seeing all the sights. And that just was not the case. We are heading back. The house here that my parents own has already had an offer on it. There's already been an inspection, so that should go through here very shortly. That's why we're looking at like a 2 week window to head back. And so things are already in motion. Um, it just kind of came unexpectedly at the beginning of the year that we'd be heading back at some point in 2022. And originally we were planning for the spring so that we'd have the summer there, but that didn't quite work out. But now we're heading back in October. And I, for one, am super excited. I've enjoyed living in Utah. There's a lot of great stuff about Utah. I mean, from no traffic, really. I mean, there is traffic in, like, the Salt Lake City area, but it's just not as bad as in the Seattle area. Um, how close you are to nature, just being able to go hiking 5 minutes from your house, there's a trailhead. That kind of stuff is just nice. I feel like it's easier living here. Life's a bit slower, if that makes sense. Um, and there's just all these great views everywhere and so much to do, especially if you like the outdoors. But there's also a lot that I'm looking forward to going back. I've been wanting to go back to Washington pretty much since we moved to Utah. Once again, I planned to be here like 6 to 10 years. I just always knew in the back of my mind that I was going to go back home at some point because Washington is really the place that I love. Washington, Oregon, that Pacific Northwest vibe. Just didn't expect to go back this soon. So I'm very excited to explore Mount Rainier National Park again, go see places that I've only been to once or twice before, like the Olympics and Mount St. Helens and the North Cascades. Just go and do all that stuff that we didn't really do that much when we lived there the first time. As well as brand new things. There's a lot of places I've never been, a lot of waterfalls and lakes and stuff that I want to go check out in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest and in the foothills of the Olympics, and just places I never got to before we left that I would love to do very soon, probably in the next year. So very excited about that opportunity. What makes things even better is the fact that I was able to keep my job. I work remote for a company here in Utah, and they are allowing me to continue working and just move over to Washington. So that makes it a lot easier. I don't have that added stress of having to find a new job on top of moving, to a different state. So that's really nice. But I'm just really excited for this next adventure because it really is. Even though it's a place that I lived for 21 years, and I've only been in Utah for 4 years, things are different. I'm different. Everything is different. Before we moved to Utah, there wasn't a lot that I would do on my own. I was 21. I didn't really feel comfortable doing a lot of road trips on my own, so I didn't do that. The year that we moved in 2018 was the first year that my brother and I were even going up to places like Mount Rainier just on our own without other family members. So I mean, we're at the point now where like I can just go do that stuff and hang out with friends and whatever, and that just wasn't what I did beforehand. So I think it'll be a lot different this time. I'll explore a lot more. Justin and I have already talked about doing a lot of like fall and winter hikes and spring hikes, even if it's raining. When we lived in Washington before, we never really went hiking if it was raining. So that means most of the year we weren't hiking. And that's something that we want to change now. Not really bothered by that idea at all. So that's the kind of stuff that'll be different this time. We'll be able to do more, explore more, and make the most of it. There's a lot that we just did not get to before we left, and I'm glad that I'll finally be able to cross some of those things off my list and really embrace the Pacific Northwest culture once again. We're still figuring out some things because the plan is that we're going to rent as a family somewhere for a little while. My parents are planning on building a house, and I'm looking at some property as well, so that's some things that we just have to figure out once we're there. We still don't know exactly where we're going yet, but we'll figure that out. So hopefully before we leave Utah, we'll have a chance to do a few things. We are not going to be able to make it to any of the national parks. I'll have to come back and do that sometime, but Justin and I do want to try to get a few things done before we head off to Washington. Get some of the fall colors, because those are starting to pop. I mean, just looking outside the window right now, you can see all the red and orange on the hills out there on the Wasatch Mountains. So we want to try and get some photos and just see fall before we leave, and just try to get as much as that done as possible. And I'll try to film a few videos just to kind of document my last few days here. But I just wanted to make this quick video letting everyone know, since I really haven't been super active on this channel lately, that that's what's happening. That's kind of what's been taking over our lives for the past few months, was just figuring things out and getting the house ready for it to be sold and packing stuff. And, you know, it was moving very slowly, but that's really our focus, plus the business that I own, doing all the markets all summer. That's kind of why I took the whole summer off from creating content. But I'm really excited to get back into it and back in Washington. So expect to see some stuff from Washington very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.